All right, so for math today, first we're going to look over our homework. Then I have a video for us to watch. We'll do our notebook pages, and then you'll got your homework to work on, okay? So for numbers 1, 2, and 3 on your homework, you needed to have exactly these answers because they told you which place you needed to round to. So for the first number, 753,265, that one we needed to round to the 10,000s. So that should be 750,000. And our next number would round to 420,000. If we subtract, we should get 330,000. Number 2, we want to round to our thousands place. So this would round to 49,000. And our second one would round to 9,000. When we add them together, we get 58,000. And number 3, we're rounding to the thousands place again. So we'd have 8,000 minus 4,000. This would round up, and we would get 4,000 as a difference. For number 4, 5, and 6, you might have something slightly a little different. Make sure that you pay attention to your rounding number, and if you rounded correctly, then you're good to go. For this one, we rounded to our hundreds, I believe, when we get 2,200 plus 1,400 will get us 3,600. For this one, if we rounded to our hundreds place, we would get 9,200 minus 4,000 would be 5,200. And number 6, we had 1 million, and if we round to our 100,000s, that biggest spot, we'd have 1 million minus 400,000, we would get 5,500. All right, that's 1 through 6. Let's look at 12. You needed to use the chart to the side and find the Pacific Ocean and write that number in expanded form, which would be 100,000 plus 60,000 plus 5,000, 60,000 plus 5,000 plus 700 plus 60. And you might have added plus 0, but you didn't need to. We just talked about that in class. Some people did that. All right, let's look at number 14. You wanted you to find the values of the 7s. So you should have had 70,000, 70, and 7. You should not have said only the 10,000s, the 10s, and the 1s, because that's the place value. But I want to know the value is how much each of those 7s is worth. And the last one, 17, should have had 3 answers. 10s, hundreds, and thousands. Because if we round to our 10s, it would make our hundreds and thousands round. And if we round our hundreds, it would make our thousands round up too, because both of those are 9s. That one was really tricky. All right. Remember, you can rewatch that if you need to look over your work more, okay? So we got a video, we'll do our notebook pages, and then we're going to do our homework. So I've got a nice video talking about the different properties of addition. When we have properties, it's kind of like things you can own, like a property like you can own your house on the property. These are things that like addition owns. They work with addition. There are different ways that we can use addition. So let's watch the video. By the end, I want you to see if you can find all 3 of the properties that we're going to work with today.
Add 3 plus 8, or 8 plus 3. This song's the same with commutative property. Order ends in any way, and the sum will always be the same. Every 4th grader here should know it. Everyone here plus you. Let me tell you about all the properties. Let's start with commutative. It's the first you see. Then there's associative, and there's identity. Now you know. 3 addition properties. Commutative property has parentheses. Group the atoms in any way. Add them up and get the same sum any day. Every fourth grader here should know it. Everyone here plus you. Let me tell you about all the properties. Let's start with commutative. It's the first you see. Then there's associative and there's identity. Now you know. Three addition properties. If only you saw what I can see. It's a commutative addition property. And there's associative and there's identity. Now you know. Three addition properties. Now you know the properties. Last but not least is identity. Or zero property. A number plus zero stays the same. It will not ever change. Let me tell you about all the properties. Let's start with commutative. It's the first you see. And there's associative and there's identity. Now you know. Three addition properties. Tell you about all the properties. Let's start with commutative. It's the first you see. And there's associative and there's identity. Now you know. Three addition properties. If only you saw what I can see. It's a commutative addition property. And there's associative and there's identity. Now you know. Three addition properties. Three addition properties. Now you know the properties. Thanks, guys.
All right. So, nice catchy song to talk about the different properties. Did you catch what all three of the properties were? See if you can list them. Did you say commutative, associative, and identity? Then you are right. So we're going to take a look at our notebook page now. So go ahead and find your page. And I printed two to a page so that they are just together. So I only had one piece of paper. All right, so let's look at the left side first, kind of our note side, and then more of our practice side on the right. I'm going to write in green pen so you can really see my work. Actually, I'm going to write in blue because that one's a little brighter. All right, so the commutative property, that was the first one you see. Take a look. When we have our commutative property, I have like a hamburger. I'll move it a little closer. Plus fries equals, or we can say equals, this means the same as fries plus a hamburger. Is it the same on both sides? It's not exactly, but it has the same parts, right? Both have a burger, both have fries. So the commutative property means we can add in any order. This also means the order does not matter. I can put my hamburger first and then my fries, or I can have my fries first and then my hamburger. So let's do a practice one with like a number. Let's say I have the number 10 plus 12. So instead of my burger, I'm using the number 10. And instead of my fries, I'm using the number 12. What the commutative property means, I can have 10 plus 12, or I can switch them and say 12 plus 10. The same numbers, but the order doesn't matter. I can add it either way, kind of like a flip-flop. Okay? Then we have the associative property. It's got the parentheses from the song. I talked about that. So when we have our number sentence, let's pretend this is our number sentence. We've got SpongeBob plus Squidward. They're together in that parentheses. They're grouped. Then we have Patrick all by himself. But this is saying we can add in a different order. So we could have SpongeBob by himself and then Squidward and Patrick. We have the same on both sides, but we can group them in different ways. So associative property, let's write down our note. We can group the addends in a different order. Okay, so let's try this one with a number too. Let's say I have 6 plus 4 grouped together like SpongeBob and Squidward, plus 10. Patrick is 10. Well, what that means is I can say that's equal to if I have 6 by itself, like SpongeBob, plus my 4 and 10 together. Okay, I can change the order of the addends, and guess what? I'm still gonna change, or it's not gonna change my answer. It's gonna stay. I can group them differently. All right, and the last one is that identity property, or the zero property they called it, because we're adding 0, and it never changes our answer. It's gonna be the same from start to end. So adding 0 does not change our number. So let's do like a practice one. Let's say we got a really big number, like 3,624,137. And if we add 0 to that, guess what? It's going to be 3,624,137. It's going to stay the same. All right, so that's a good notes to help us remember the different examples. Now we're going to come over to this side, and we're going to use these words up top to help us fill in these boxes over here. And then we got some practice problems below to try. So we have our words addends, sum, identity, it should be a T, I don't know why it's an F, identity property, commutative property, and associative property. I'm looking at this first one, and I see one arrow pointing to the 24, and my second one is pointing to the 3. Do you remember what we call those numbers that we are using to add? They are called addends. So we're going to write addends in our first box and cross it off of our list because we've used it. Now I'm going to look at my back. What do we call that answer to an addition problem? It's a sum. So I'm going to write sum over there and cross it off. Now I'm looking at this problem. I see 6 plus 3 equals 3 plus 6. What could that be? I have identity property, commutative property, and associative property left. Well, I'm thinking back to my notes I took, and I notice that this reminds me of the hamburger and fries, because I see 1, 2, and then 1, 2. They're just in different orders. Oh yeah, this is the commutative property. So I'm just going to write commutative in that box. What about our next one, where we have 90 plus 0 equals 90? Yeah, that one's that identity property, isn't it? Because it stayed the same. It didn't change. So I got to cross those two off. All right, and our last one, we think it should be associative. Let's take a look at the work, though. 9 plus 2 plus 4 equals 2 plus 9 plus 4. Well, the associative property tells me I can add them in a different order. And this time I group the 9 and the 4 together. Yep, that's our associative. And I'll cross that off. All right. Now down here is kind of like what part of your homework is. So let's take a look. We have to figure out what's missing on the left and then tell which property on the right. I'll do the first one so you can see what I mean. Let's see, I see 6 plus 7 plus 3 equals 7 plus 6 plus I see a 7 and a 6 on that side. I think this is a missing 3 because of what I know about the associative property, that I can add my add-ins in a different order as long as I have the same each side. Yep, I do. All right, you try 2, 3, and 4, and unpause the video when you are ready to see what those answers are. All right, number 2 is missing a 4. 0 plus 4 equals 4. And this was because of the identity property. Number 3, 8 plus something equals 4 plus 8. Did you catch that there was a 4 on the right side, so a 4 has to be on the left? And that is because of the commutative property. Because I only have 2 add-ins, I'm just changing the order. It's commutative. All right, this last one. 2 plus 3 plus, something, equals 2 plus 1 plus 3. Well, I noticed it's got those parentheses, and I remember those are with the associative property. So I'm looking to see what's missing from the side. Oh, it's a 1. And that's the associative property. All right. So what we've got next is your homework. So we got your homework. Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to zoom in on this. Go back to my mouse. All right, so up top, you don't have to answer these on the left, okay? They're just there to give you an idea about which property you need to use. And you need to tell me the properties on the right. If you want to solve them on the left, go ahead, but you don't have to. So take a look at this one. 9 plus 4 plus 2. And notice those parentheses. Which property could you use to add this in a different way? You could use the associative because it's got those parentheses. Okay, and take a look at the next ones. And which property would you use? Okay. Down here, just practice adding 3 numbers together. And then down here, review from 3rd grade how to add when you have multi-digit numbers. Then, the second page, the left side wants you to circle the property used in the box. So looking at the pictures or the numbers, which property is used? And then, on the right, you want you to fill in any missing numbers, kind of like we did on our notebook page. So, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have fun and good luck with the 3 different addition properties. All right, take care.